Students, can you hear me? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
There was some issue with the Google Meet. I don't know what happened. All these are the issues which we face. Okay, no problem.
Ma'am, and also, ma'am, the
Yeah,
calendar of events which you have put in GC is the old one, ma'am.
is it so?
It's there till 2020. I mean, when we were in third sem. Till there, it's there. After that, it's not there, ma'am.
Is it the old one?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'll check that. I that is the latest one which I got in my mail. So I thought it's the
No.
same thing. Okay, I'll check out. Don't worry. Let me see. That is
Okay.
a calendar of events I also have. Maybe the only the printout is there. Soft copy even probably I may not have then. That was the updated one. I'll check and I'll update. Okay, let me see once again. Okay, so yesterday we were going through this. Okay, we were looking at how to, how to do your for a real sequence. We saw this. I have updated how to solve this. Some few steps are missing in this. So y of n is equal to x of minus n. This was the thing that you were supposed to find out, because x of k, y of k you got your x of k. From that you wanted to obtain your um, shifted value. You wanted to obtain y of k. So y of k is nothing but x of minus k. The first sequence is there, then you time reverse it. Even this you can draw a circle and you can write it. Once you write clockwise, then you write anti-clockwise. So just remember this. Okay. Similarly, same like how you did for this, there are sub questions for this. That is, for real even and real odd sequence, what happens? How do you do the proof? It's very simple. This I'll just give you a hint how it is done. Same like the previous one. For real and even sequence, right? Whenever you say a signal is even, x of minus n is equal to x of n. So, and for a signal, if a signal has both even and odd components, you can write it like this: x of n is equal to x even plus x odd. So even part, how do you extract from this? 1 by 2 x of n plus x of minus n. Similarly, odd part, how do you obtain? 1 by 2 x of n minus x of minus n. So separately you find the DFT for both the even part and the odd part. Just substitute your DFT equation, and when you solve it, the only key point here is x of minus k is equal to x of n minus k. Previous property you will use. You should obtain a real part. That means for real and even sequence, you will have a purely real DFT. This is one thing they may ask you. Prove that for a real and even sequence, the DFT is a purely real signal. Similarly, for a real and odd sequence, DFT is purely imaginary. They may ask you in general to prove this. So the only key thing is, instead of x of n, direct x of n, x of minus n, you will split a signal into even and odd part. Even signal you will write it as 1 by 2 x of n plus x of minus n. Odd signal you will write of x of n minus x of minus n. That's all. Then as usual you put your DFT and you solve it. Same like previous cases. Okay. So it is there, you can just go through it. Very simple it is. So instead of some arbitrary term you will consider for x of k, x star of k, you will get a plus jb or a minus jb. Anything you can take, x plus yj, x minus yj. However you want, you can consider, and you can, once you open the bracket and you cancel, you will be left with only the real term. In this case, only the imaginary term will be there. Okay. Similarly, for the complex signal also, just like we have done earlier, you will have for even and odd, you split it as even plus odd. For complex valued signal, you call a signal real signal, imaginary signal. So the real part, the DFT is x r of k, imaginary part capital X I of k. Then as usual, again write the DFT equation, substitute this, you will group your cos and sine terms together. Okay, just go through it, just do it as such. If you want, in the last these subset kind of proofs which you have along with the previous, that symmetry property, all this comes under the symmetry property. When different cases it is, if the signal is even, what happens? If the signal is odd, what happens? If it's a combination of real and imaginary both terms, what happens? Okay, what is the proof for that? So one sentence will be there at the end, right? You need to remember that. So even here, even in this proof, if you substitute for imaginary and real terms, if you substitute 0, suppose you want real term, you will substitute imaginary equal to 0. If you want imaginary term, you will substitute real is equal to 0. You'll obtain one expression, just keep it. Usually they don't ask you to prove this like that, but then you need to know it, that's all. So go through it, try to solve it once. Towards the last, you people just remind me towards the end of this unit. Okay, then we will, if you are getting stuck or somewhere there is a problem, we can solve it. Okay, we will move on with our next property. Okay, so along with that, they have given you one sequence, and for that, if it's a even sequence, you will check whether it's even sequence or odd sequence, and accordingly you will use that property and do it. Just try out this, all of you, and let me know if there are any issues. Okay, this all comes under that. See, this is the previous property itself. I've written it again, that's all. This we have done yesterday. So many problems will be there of similar kind. You can just have a look, try to solve it. So till this page, around 29th page, you can go through one by one. You can solve, although you have Saturday, Sunday holidays there. Again, you don't have classes. Saturday you can have off online, since it's online. Saturday we will have class. Sunday one more day you're going to get. So
Ma'am, Saturday is May Day, so May
tomorrow,
1st. So
tomorrow is officially holiday. Okay, I didn't see that.
that's what I'm asking, ma'am. Will it be?
Mostly it will be then, in that case.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
Ma'am, calendar of events, ma'am.
I will send it. Let me check. I don't have it straight away in my mail. Whatever I had in my mail updated, latest one what I had in my mail, I have updated to you. Okay,
Yes.
so let me check. Whatever I sent you, I'm not sure if, I don't know if that was not the thing. I'll check and let you know. Okay, I'll post the updated one. You keep connected to the Google Classroom. Whatever is there, I'll upload it. Okay.
Ma'am.
So next thing is circular convolution. Okay, so how do we, I'll show you this. I need to write and show. That is the reason. For a problem I'll write and show it. Just have a look at this circular convolution. So you all know how to do linear convolution. In matrix form you can do it, not in matrix exactly. If you draw a table kind of a thing and you do it, you can do your linear convolution very easily. Similarly, you can do your circular convolution also. Okay, we will see how to do this. Okay, so consider this. Instead of, for normal linear convolution, you have x of n star of h of n. So here you put a circle and write an n like this. This is how you represent your circular convolution in time. So how do you write it? You can say y of n is equal to 0 to n minus 1, x of m, take some other variable, h of n minus m. This is what is your linear convolution also. The only difference is you put this double braces and you have n. That means it is modulo. That is the meaning. Okay. So have a look at this. Y of n is equal to this, you write. So you need to prove that, suppose in the pictorial form you represent x of n dft, you take x of k, h of k dft you take, you will get h of k. X of k into h of k, you multiply both the DFTs and then you take the IDFT, you will get your circular convolution. So in short, convolution in your time domain is equal to multiplication in your frequency domain. You need to prove. This is a very, very important property. I'll tell you why. See, convolution, always has, suppose there are four terms, how many multiplications will be there? You will shift and you will multiply. You will keep on multiplying. There will be 16 multiplications followed by that many additions, n minus 1 additions. So that much of multiplication and addition you can save if you do the same convolution in the frequency domain, you take the IDFT, that's all. So computationally, this property is very useful to you because in time domain, you have to multiply and add, whereas in frequency domain, it's just multiplication. You see this, y of k is equal to h of k, x of k, that's it. So don't you think this is a very, very important property when it comes to computational efficiency? Just think, is it not? That is the reason we are going with this kind of a property. This is a very important property. So we will see how we are going to do this. So from this block diagram, block diagram means this one, x of k, h of k. Y of k is equal to x of k into h of k, you know. But you know that y of n is nothing but IDFT of x of k into h of k. We are going in the reverse direction in this proof, okay. So y of n is equal to IDFT of this. How do you write the IDFT equation? Whatever term is there inside, you write it, okay. Somebody is joining. Okay. Whatever term you write it, 1 by n summation k varying from 0 to n minus 1. Earlier it used to be, if it's just x of k, you will just write x of k wn per minus nk. Here IDFT of x of k into h of k. So you will write x of k into h of k. For IDFT you will write wn per minus n into k. Is it not? Okay. So after that, what do you do in the next step? So here again you split your x of k and h of k. You write it separately. X of k is DFT of x of, instead of n, everywhere n is there. So instead of to avoid the confusion, you write another, keep another variable x of I wn per k into I. It doesn't make any difference. Or if you want, you keep n itself. No issues. Okay. X of k, h of k is the h of k DFT of h of m. X of k DFT of x of I. Or you write x of n, h of n, no problem if you want. Why I am not using same variable, you will understand in the next step. So you will substitute these expressions here, these two expressions in equation 1. So x of I wn per k into I, this one and this one. So here you can see, if you have everywhere if you have n, you will get a confusion. So you write it like this. Now you are going to group all these terms separately. That is, all the twiddle factors you with k has got k. So you'll group all the twiddle factors together, x of I, h of m. Here with the respective summations you remove out. 1 by n is anyway common. So here what you're going to do, you're going to the summation over k values, okay. So instead of I, you will replace, see, this is one substitution that you need to always remember. Whenever you're changing the variable, okay, why I'm doing this, if you ask, by now you have done so many derivations, is it not? So you must automatically, it should strike to you that it's okay, even if it doesn't strike, it may not immediately, we may not get it that I need to change the variable. If I change the variable, only if you look at the next steps, you will understand. You want to obtain this n minus m. Convolution is what? X of n minus m into h of m over a summation. So only difference here is it is a circular convolution. I'll show you exactly how to do it also. All right. So we'll concentrate on that also. So in order to obtain that, I will replace the summation I is equal to an n minus m term, and accordingly I'll change the summation. So you just see, if I equal to 0, n will be equal to m. You substitute over here, n is equal to m, so that is what you want. If I equal to n minus 1, n will be equal to n minus 1. So in order to make it equal, what you're going to do is, you are just replacing this I with n minus m. This is h of m, just like that. You want to keep both these summations, you want to club. Getting it? You want to club both these summations and write it as a single summation. So you want to write m equal to 0 to n minus 1. Okay, because I you don't want, you want n minus m. So that is the reason you replace I with n minus m. Got it? Ultimately, what do you want? So many summations you don't want. But if you substitute in this equation, you are getting so many summations. You have grouped your twiddle factor together. No problem. Okay. What you are left with? You are left with this. These two terms. So what to do? What to do? You will introduce this term n minus m which you want. Getting it? So 1 by n remains. A single summation m equal to 0 to n minus 1 is there. So if you are replacing this I with m, this becomes n minus m. You are considering I is equal to n minus m. H of m is there. So here what happens? Over a range of capital N, okay, the value of this will be what? This is Wn power n. So it is 0 to n minus 1 over n values. If it is capital N, I mean summation of 1 over a range 0 to n minus 1, the value of this is nothing but capital N. So that this term you replace it with capital N. Okay, those terms gets cancelled. You are left with x of n minus 1, m and h of m. So ultimately here it is in this equation you are doing all the assumptions and all the adjustment. To avoid these two summations you are using n minus 1. This term, since it's 0 to n minus 1, you see here I plus m minus n. This is nothing but the whole term reduces to what? It reduces to your capital N. Is it not? Ultimately, you will have capital N number of terms. More than that, you won't have because it's a circular convolution. So this is Wn power n equivalent to Wn power n into k. You know Wn power n is nothing but 1. So summation of 1 over the range is equal to that range value. So n and n gets cancelled. You are left with this term. You'll better understand this when I solve a problem. Okay. So this is about, you have proved that ultimately if you have this equation, it is nothing but your circular convolution. You can write this equation as a convolution equation. So what is important here is circular convolution in time is nothing but multiplication in your frequency domain. So the reverse is also there. Circular convolution in time, how do you show that? It is just h of k into x of k. Okay. Have you got this? This is the same actually. This property and the next property, circular convolution in time. Here you are going with this, x of n is there, h of n is there, x of k and h of k is there. Multiply this, you have to take IDFT, you have to get x of n into h of n. Okay. Somebody is saying
Ma'am, when we change the I value, will the limits not change now?
where? Here when you are
In
changing the I in the last
I
equation.
equals to,
Here you are telling.
yes ma'am, like I is from 0 to n minus 1, mama.
Yeah,
Even when we change I is equal to n minus 1, the limit m is equal to 0 to n minus 1 only, it's there now.
Yeah, that is the difference compared to other questions. Here what we are doing is it's just a shift. You're just introducing I, you're keeping your variable I such that it is some n minus m value, some shifted value of n. Getting? You're not actually, you can change the limit. If you change the limit, what will happen? The purpose of making the summation same. In the earlier derivations and all, we have done that. We have changed the limit and all that. Here, why we are not doing is, what is your goal? You ultimately want this expression, x of n minus m. So if you want this, if you change the limit, you won't get the 0 to n minus 1 term. To get it back again, you may have to introduce one more variable. You can try it out and see. When you do this, You change the limit and see how this expression changes. You can write it somewhere in the side and check. What will happen is you will get an expression such that you cannot simplify it further. You should, some standard formula you cannot use. And you start solving problems, it will be difficult for you to write it in the range of 0 to n minus 1. And moreover, n minus m, this shift will not be possible. Okay. You do one thing, you people write it down once. You change the limit and also see it. If you change the limit and keep I variable, this will remain like an extra thing. You will not be able to achieve your shifted value n minus m and m, or n minus I and h of I. You can keep anything. But ultimately, there should be a shift, there should be one variable. Either you eliminate m or you eliminate I. Whichever you want, you can eliminate. My ultimate goal should be I should have a single summation. Okay. So the similar thing. Here what we did, we took the DFT and we took the multiplication, then we took IDFT. Same thing, in the next one, circular convolution in time, we are taking the DFT of this one and we are getting the RHS. In the previous thing, we took RHS and we took this x of k into h of k, and then we took IDFT and got this. You can do it the reverse way also. See, if they are asking you convolution in time domain is equivalent to multiplication in frequency domain, if they ask you to prove this, you can write it this way. Or if they say, okay, using the IDFT equation, or like two sequences are there which is having a expression like this, okay, prove that it is like this, you can use this. So either way, either this or this, anything is fine, but just go through which you are comfortable, which you are understanding. Okay, both are the same, only thing is usually they'll ask you like this: circular convolution in time domain is equivalent to multiplication in frequency domain. It's the same thing actually. Either you take RHS and prove the LHS, or LHS and probably this might be a little more easier for you. Okay, though it's given as see here the steps are very small, you can have a look, it's very less. But if they ask you this way, or they give you a diagram like this and they ask you to prove this, you will have to do it this way. Here only thing is you change this. Whoever was asking me, I think Jayant, right? You can just have a look how it changes if you do not change the summation, or if you accordingly, if you change the summation here, what happens? Can you obtain 0 to n minus 1? It will be difficult for you. You can do it. It will take, it's a little difficult to obtain that. That's the reason we try to keep a single summation for x term and h term, so that it is simplified in 1 or 2 steps. Okay, just you try it out that way also, like we did earlier. This is one adjustment which we are doing here. 1 second. Okay. So this, if you see, this proof is much simpler. See here, h of n, x of n is there. Substitute the convolution equation. Here you're starting with LHS, so it's very easy. Start with the LHS. Convolution, you know, h of m into x of n minus m. Keep this summation, you know, DFT of these terms. This is nothing but DFT of this into DFT of this. So what happens? Keep the summation term like that. Okay, DFT of this. DFT of x of n minus m is what? Shifted value. This is just shifted circularly. So you know it is x of k wn par, whatever is the shift. This is the property. Actually in this one you are using one previous property also. That is why it is reduced very easily. Is it not? In time domain, if there is a shift, frequency domain, twiddle factor multiplied by that shift will be there. Time shift property. Okay, you can write here one sentence, time shift. You will get this. DFT of this, you know, x of k, you keep it out. Take the DFT of this inside. What is this? This is nothing but what? H of n wn par m into k, 0 to n minus 1. This is nothing but your h of k. So in 3 or 4 steps you got this derivation. Only thing is here Your time shift n minus m is nothing but Wn per m into k. Okay. So always remember, convolution in time domain is equal to multiplication in the frequency domain. So now I will show you how we can do this convolution for a 4-point DFT. I'll just show you how we can do it. Okay. What happened? Give me one moment. See, someday when you people are free, right, you just let me know. We will solve more problems. We'll have a tutorial kind of a session. Officially, you don't have tutorials. Any lab or something where you don't have it. Okay. We can have, we can have more problems we can solve. We can, I can give you the questions you people can solve along with me. Wherever you're getting stuck, probably I can show it to you also. Okay. So I'll show you how we can do this circular convolution in easy method. Okay. Okay, suppose it's linear convolution, how we'll do. So what is the difference between linear convolution and circular convolution? Can anybody tell me? Anyone? What is the difference between linear and circular convolution? Any idea? No? See, suppose I have a signal x of n. Let me take a number. I'll take a 4-point value. 1, 2, 3, 1. Okay? H of n is 4, 3, 2, 2. Okay? So if I do linear convolution, you all are aware of doing your linear convolution like this? How you used to do? 1, 2, 3, 1. Suppose the length of this is 4, length of this is 4. This is suppose L, this is M. Your linear convolution, how do you do linear convolution? Length of the sequence will be L plus M minus 1, that is 4 plus 4, 8 minus 1, that is 7 will be your length of linear convolution. Whereas circular convolution, the length will be 4 itself. Linear convolution, the length will be 7. This is the difference. Circular convolution, it's always the modulo operation. Getting this? All of you are getting? Okay, let me just refresh your memory. Suppose this is 1, 2, 3, 1. How am I going to do linear convolution? 4, 3, 2, 2. So I'll multiply these values. 4 into 1, 4 2s are 8, 4 3s are 12, 4 1s are 4, 3, 6, 9, 3. Multiplying this. 2, 4, 6, 2. Is it not? All of you?
Yes, ma'am.
You know this, right? How to do this?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Then we need to put cross lines and we need to add those numbers, ma'am.
Exactly. 2 2s are 4, 2 3s are 6. Yeah, you will write like this. Is it not? These
Yes,
values are going
yes,
to
ma'am.
add. So what you will get? 4, 8 plus 3, 11, 8, 12 plus 8, 20. What is this? 6 plus 9, 15 plus 4, 19. This is 10, 13. 6 plus 2, 8. and 2. So see the values. This is your linear convolution. This is the difference, okay? Linear convolution, you get n equal to 0. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 values are there. Is it okay? All of you know this, right? Linear convolution. This is your linear convolution. So now let me do the circular convolution. How can I do circular convolution? Okay. So I'll take the same numbers. Okay. Usually in your textbooks, you will find one method of drawing the circle and doing it. I'll show you both the methods of doing the circular convolution. This matrix method is much easier. So what I'll do is I'll write your x of n first. 1, 2, 3, 1. Write it in a x of n is 1, 2, 3 and 1. All of you please do along with me. Next thing is this last number I will send it here. That is, this number is going to come here. That is, this will be 1. This comes down 1, 2, 3. Next the last number goes up again. 3. This comes here. 1, 1, 2. Okay. Next will be 2, 3, 1, 1. So
Ma'am,
if I
third row I didn't get, ma'am.
this one, this number, always the last number goes first. These will come below. Got it? That's all. Again the last number goes to the top. This comes. So again if I shift, what happens again if I shift? Once more if I am going to shift, I am going to get this back. So you will stop at that point. Got it? Again if I shift, what happens? This will become 1, 2, 3, 1. 1, 2, 3, 1 is the first row, first column. Got it? Take the last number, put it here. Then you keep writing, keep shifting these numbers and write it. Last number goes to the top, you keep shifting and write this. Write like this. Got it? This is your x of n shifted matrix. This is x of n minus m actually. Shifted continuously or circularly shifting it. Got it? So this is your circular convolution. All of you please do along with me. Okay? Got this? All of you got this? How I have written this?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now this is a shortcut way. Directly I am teaching you the shortcut to do this. Ideally circular convolution, they write it in a circle. I showed you yesterday, right? You will write anti-clockwise. Then you write clockwise. I'll show you that method also. Okay. So next have this 4, 3, 2, 2 is your h of n. This is h of n. Okay. Now multiply this row wise, column wise. Multiply and tell me what you will get. 4 into 1, 4 plus 3. What is this? Tell me the answer. 3 into 2, 6. 2 into 2, 4. So what is it? 4 plus 3 plus
17, ma'am.
6 plus 4. Okay. So what is the answer you get? You get 17.
17.
So next one you tell me similarly. This
Ma'am,
row
this 4322 from where we got, ma'am?
h of n. X of n minus
In
m
the
into
question.
h of m,
Yes, ma'am.
right? This is given in the question. X
Yes,
of
ma'am.
n is this is h of n. What is circular convolution? Either of the question, either you can take h of n minus m also, x of n you can take, or x of n minus m, h of m, n, both are same. Anyhow you do, you will get the same answer. Okay, one of the sequence you will take, you will circularly shift. Circular shift is referred to as x of n minus m. Okay, so similarly you do it, all these things you do it, you will get 17, 19, 22 and 19 is it? Yeah, 19. Okay, this is what you will get it. I'll show you from the start once again. Have a look. X of n, h of n you are having. Okay, you are going to do what? If it's a linear convolution, the length is 7, L plus m minus 1. Circular convolution, since there are 4 values, you will just have only 4 itself. So what you will do here, linear convolution you know how to do. You will write in a matrix form, multiply it in the columns, put cross lines, all these values you will write it. You will just add these two, 8 plus 3, 11, add in the, along this cross lines you add it, you will get your linear convolution, which has length of 7 in this case. So circular convolution, what happens? You will write it like this. The last value you will put it in the first. Take any equation, either x of n or h of n. Circularly shift it till the next step will be the first sequence. See, this is periodic, right? If you keep on writing this, again, if you do the next shift, this will be 1, 2, 3, 1 again. That is the first line. So you will stop at this point. Or in short, if it's a 4 values are there, there will be 4 columns. 5 values are there, there will be 5 columns. That's it. So do the shift like this. Last value you will write it first, keep shifting the rest of the things. Again, last value you write it first, keep shifting the rest of the terms. Multiply with h of n. Okay, then you add everything. So add and tell me, this will be 4 into 2, 8, plus 3, plus 2, plus 6. Are you getting 19? 8 plus 3, 11, 11 plus 2, 13, 13 plus
Yes,
6,
ma'am,
19.
same answer we are getting.
So you will get this answer. Okay, you keep multiplying these and you write it, you will get this answer. This is a circular convolution, that is summation x of n minus m into h of m, circularly convolution, n varying from 0 to n minus 1. This is circular convoluted answer. So now there is one more way to do this using circles.
Ma'am, 1 second.
Yeah.
Can we follow this method in exams, ma'am? We'll get marks, right? Full marks.
You will get full marks, no problem.
Okay,
Actually,
ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
in the textbook, textbooks and all, there is one standard method that if you see this certain textbooks, the standard method that they're using, I will show you that also. Maybe some people will be comfortable with that. That also I can show. So what I'll do is I'll write h of n inside. See, this is h of 0, for example. That is 4, 3. I am writing anti-clockwise. 4, 3, 2, 2. Okay. In the first circle, I'll write this. So I will draw an outer circle where I will write your x of n. X of n is 1. This is x of 0, 1. I'll write it in the opposite direction. So this becomes x of n minus x of minus n. So 1. See, this one I wrote anti-clockwise. This I am writing x of n, I am writing clockwise. If I write it clockwise, it is 1, 2, 3, 1. Okay. So now you see, now this is the first term. What do I get? 4 into 1, 4, plus 3 into 1, 3, 3 into 2, 6, plus 2 into 2, 4. I'll get 17. Let me complete this so that you can, get it. 3 4s are 12, 2 3s are 6. This is 2, 2. All of you do along with me. Okay. So this is 4, 9. This is a shortcut way what I have shown you. Very simple. You can do it in the matrix itself. Okay. You can definitely follow this. In textbooks directly you won't get this method. Okay. But rather than drawing the circle, I feel, draw this, just keep on shifting it and write it. Here also doing the same actually. You write either h of n or x of n. Any one sequence you write it in anti-clockwise. The other sequence, if you're writing it clockwise, what is the meaning? This is your x of 0. This is your x of 1, x of 2, x of 3. Okay. This is h of 0, h of 1, h of 2, h of 3. So what is the meaning of this is, x of 0, x of 1, x of 2, x of 3 you have taken. this is going in the clockwise direction. This is going in anti-clockwise direction. So in inside term, suppose anti-clockwise you're considering as reference. So this is going, this term, whatever is there inside, this is your h of n. If you're writing it in the opposite direction, this is nothing but negative. Okay, so I am following this convention. H of 0, h of 1, h of 2, h of 3, you're going in the anti. This one I'm going in the clockwise. So this is your x of minus n. So this is nothing but whatever you have written clockwise is nothing but x of minus n. So I got my first term of my convolution 17 I got, which is same as this only. Okay, so I will show you the next also. So the second term I want to get. So this is the first term of convolution. So second term, what I'm going to do for the second thing, I'll always keep the inner circle the same. Inner circle is not changing. It is 4, 3, 2, 2. Outer circle I am going to shift it again clockwise. So I had h of 0, that is going to come here. See the previous term. What all I had in the outer circle? 1, 2. Should I take another pen? 1 second.
Excuse me, ma'am. Sorry
Yeah.
to interrupt you, ma'am.
Yeah.
Next subject we have lab, ma'am. Ma'am is waiting for us.
Ma'am is waiting. Can you just ask for 2 minutes because we'll complete this off.
Okay, ma'am. I'll let her know, ma'am.
We are just doing this. Just tell her we'll just take 5 more minutes. Which ma'am is waiting?
Okay. Lipsa, ma'am. DSP lab A1 batch.
Okay, okay. Just say that we are way through a problem. Just 3 more steps are there. We'll finish and we'll come back.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So we'll do it. At least one more I will show you. I'll write the rest of the thing and I will post it. Okay. Just have a look. So earlier I had 1. This 1 is going to, you're going to shift it clockwise. So you had 1, 2, 3, 1, right? So this 1 is going to come here in the next position. So I'll write 1 here, 1. So this will be 2, this will be 3, this will be 1. So now you multiply. This is nothing but 4 into 1, 1 plus 4 plus 2 into 1, 2. Okay. What happened? This is 2. So 1 had to come here, right? 1 came here. 1, 2, 3 and 1. Correct. 4 into 1 plus 2 into 1, 2 plus 2 into 2, 4. 3 into 3, 9. Check if you're getting this answer. 6 plus 4, 10. 10 plus 9, 19. Okay. So even if you have shifted like this, you got this term. So similarly, in the next step, what happens? This will get shifted again. One more position. This one will come here. This one will go here. This 2 will go here. So 4 circles you will draw and you will do this. You will get this same answer. Alright, students. I will do the next 2 steps also and I will post this image today itself. Okay. You can join your next lab. Not an issue. I hope it's clear to all of you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you. Join your labs, all of you.
Thank you,
leave.
ma'am.
Yeah, thank you. You can leave the meeting. No problem.